And
Now
when
with your, oh,
you
go
do
ahead.
have batteries that corrode, you need to be very careful about cleaning the contacts for the
Oh
new battery.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, sometimes water is the only thing, water and the toothbrush.
Ooh, you know what works really
Vinegar.
great for, yeah, get some white vinegar and a couple of Q-tips,
That'll work.
and that the acid, alkaline, and they neutralize themselves, but you have to clean it really
Actually,
thoroughly afterwards. It'll fizz up
there's a
real nicely.
Could I
the
suggest that we
battery
become a
is not
meeting?
supposed to corrode. I think it's called Energizer Ultimate Lithium or something like that. It's not supposed to corrode in your device.
Oh, mm. I'm Mr. Cheapskate. I use alkaline, but
These what I'm
yeah,
talking about are expensive.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Well, I went over to the dollar store and got a bunch of USB charging cables, and they're they're really cheesy, but that's what I use to rework these things, and they work great. I mean, it's
Hmm.
I actually ought to do a little construction, like a DIY thing for that, because it's a little tedious, but it's not hard if you have a soldering iron.
Your 2012 Mac Mini, is that an i7?
Yeah, the
I
ones
think
I
it's
have, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
One of our members just pointed out that the time to discuss repair items is between 6:30 and 7. At 7, we're supposed to start a meeting.
Yes, we're reprimanded that we will shut
Yep.
up.
Well, Tom, I opened that up because not of all of our members from St. Louis are used to 6:30, and we had an issue with the link, so that's why I opened it up. But I agree. I think let's kind of move on here, and I will get into my goodies here. So let me share this.
Oh, is this Elgato the same one that used to have the ITV stuff?
Yes.
Ah,
All right. Can everybody see that?
mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So again, for our cap map people, this is something I do every month. It's just news, tips, tricks, other things I come across of interest. And so this is just kind of my normal thing that I do. And I know you guys have seen a little of this before. So the first thing that I want to mention is I saw a story on this and I thought this is really interesting. And I don't know if anybody else has heard about this, that people are stealing software at the Apple store. And so I just came across an article and I thought it was kind of funny actually. But as I put here, if you're ever in the Apple store, it doesn't look like Apple's using a ton of security measures, especially compared to other retail stores. And Apple has pretty much said that they just want to keep everybody safe, staff and customers, and happy, and preventing theft isn't exactly their primary goal. So one of the things that's being stolen from the store is software. And so what's happening is people are coming in and they'll bring in a device and they'll just be standing there next to one of the Apple devices, and they're using AirDrop to take software from the in-store demo devices and they're putting it on their own device. I don't know if anybody's heard of this, but there's been a lot of buzz about it on social media lately, but evidently it's been going on for quite some time. And there was one user that was boasting about this on X. And of course, the first thing I thought of is, why are you putting this out there on social media that you're doing this? That's not the brightest thing. But you can see his post here. He said, I went to the Fifth Avenue Apple store today and airdropped myself the entire suite of Apple Pro apps. Basically stole $600 worth of software from the Apple store, LOL. I don't know if that's the brightest thing in the world to be advertising it out there, but there's a lot of chatter out there. This guy said this isn't remotely a new thing. I remember when the iPod video came out and some guy posted a video of himself doing the same thing, get a copy of software using external storage. And it's like, it goes on. I found some other stuff. Apple applications are self-contained in a .app archive. All of the relevant files, libraries, etc., are stored in that archive in most cases. Simply moving that .app from one computer to the other installs that application on the new computer. And so it's, anyway, the only thing that, this person put airdropping Apple Store demo applications to your Mac does work, but there are no updates. So basically, he puts this. He said, I tried this today by airdropping Final Cut, Logic Pro, compressors in motion to my iPhone and airdropping it to my Mac at home. It does work, but you do not get updates. Upon updating Final Cut, you get an error. App cannot be updated due to being refunded or revoked. So you can do it and then it doesn't work. But anyway, I was kind of blown away that this is evidently widely known and going on. But I'm just, I mean, the easy solution for Apple, as I put here, is it'd be easy just to turn off AirDrop. But, as they say, they want the in-store experience to be organic and welcoming to customers. So I don't think Apple worries about it too much. I'm figuring they're thinking it's pretty, small potatoes. It's nothing that they're going to lose a bunch of money on. So I'm presuming if it was widespread enough and they were losing a bunch of money, they would do something about it.
Well, I have a question regarding that real quick. The way, as far as I relate to AirDrop, that only works if it's on the same network. If you have a computer, for example, the Apple Store has a guest network and your laptop is hooked up to a guest network. And the only way you can AirDrop is if those Mac computers in the Apple Store are on that guest network. If they're on a password protected network, I don't see how you could AirDrop from a password protected network to your laptop. You're not able to connect through AirDrop if it's on a password connected
what's going on
network.
Exactly there, but my presumption is that they're on the same network they're using because
well, that's
they're able to
stupid.
do it. So yeah.
Well, I looked that up myself later, but yeah, that's not right.
Yeah. I know for our group in St. Louis, I've been kind of occasionally putting stuff in, just trying to warn people of kind of scam things and stuff to protect yourself. And so, I was reading this article I somehow came across in Money Digest, and they had an article about calls and phrases that really will tip you off this is a scam. And I thought I'd share this with you guys. Every month more than 1 billion scam robocalls designed to steal money from unsuspecting telephone subscribers. Last year, almost 60 million Americans lost over $29 billion to these scam callers. More than 1 million complaints were made to the FTC about scams from calls and text. And this is from the National Consumer Law Center and the Electronic Privacy Information Center. And whenever I see those stats, it just boggles my mind because I hear about some of the things that people fall for. And I'm like, wow, it's amazing to me. So like I said, when I come across stuff, I try to pass it along. So, scammers, they're fairly clever and, they come up with new ways all the time. So Money Digest did this article and they put together some common phrases to look out for. So the first one I have for you is, the first scam is if they say, when you say hello and they say, can you hear me? If a call starts with a yes or no question, chances are a scammer is trying to record you saying yes so that they can authorize purchases on your accounts. So, if you would get that and someone would say, can you hear me? And you don't recognize the number, that might be a tip off right away that they're trying to get you to do this. Scam number 2. I'm from the government and need to verify your social security, whatever. Know that government representatives would never call unexpectedly and ask for your social security number or other sensitive information by phone. Generally, I'm thinking if somebody calls and says I'm from the government, regardless of whether it's true or not, it's not a good thing. Number 3, you've won. All you need to pay is. If you really want a contest, you wouldn't be asked to pay for shipping or anything else. It's a tactic scammers use to snag your credit card or bank information. So as soon as anybody's asking you to pay something, it's probably not on the up and up. Number 4, if you hear the phrase act now, scammers will pressure you to act immediately because they want you to make a snap decision rather than realizing that they're not legit, which will likely happen if they give you time to think. So they want to rush you into thinking and feeling under pressure to make some bad decision. Scam number 5, the phrase is don't hang up. Another common phrase, a scam caller will demand you stay on the line because they don't want you to have an opportunity to fact check what they're saying and realize that they're lying. and I believe this is the last one, scam 6. I'm calling from Amazon. If a caller claims to be with Amazon and is calling about a suspicious order, they're trying to scam you. Don't fall for it. Don't give them any information about your account. And this could be from other companies as well. Hang up and independently check if you've got an account with some company. And I would say the same thing for emails. If you've got an account with a company, go separately away from that email or that call, go into your account, but never give any information out. So those are just kind of phrases that you can pay attention to, that if you hear those phrases, you probably know, it's somebody using a scam. Speaking of that, I didn't include this in there, but I just happened to be reading, and I was on Apple News today, and I was reading an article, and it was in Wired magazine. And I just want to read like 2 quick little paragraphs to you. Like thousands of other security researcher, Grant Smith got a United States Postal Service package message. I don't know if you guys have gotten these, but I'll get these occasionally saying, "Oh, we couldn't deliver your package." Many of his friends had received similar texts. A couple days earlier, he says his wife called him and said she'd inadvertently entered her credit card details. With little going on after the holidays, Smith began a mission: hunt down the scammers. Over the course of a few weeks, Smith tracked down the Chinese language group behind the mass smishing campaign, hacked into their systems, collected evidence of their activities, and started a month-long process of gathering victim data and handing it to the United States Postal Service investigators and a U.S. bank, allowing people's cards to be protected from fraudulent activity. Anyways, the whole article, how he did this, but boy, did they scam the wrong person, I guess, because now this guy hacked into them and blew up their whole little thing. So that was in Wired magazine. So if you're on Apple News, it's Wired. The title is USPS tech scammers duped his wife, so he hacked their operation. So I thought that was kind of an interesting article that I read today. All right, on here. Oh,
I was going to say there's one other kind of scam that I have personal knowledge of. My sister-in-law calls me up and she's all worked up, and she said she had a dialogue pop up on her Mac, and it said, "Oh, you have 3 viruses, and it's really terrible." And Apple alert, and call this 800 number. And she called the 800 number, and the nice man there. And she said, do you really work for Apple? "Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, I work for Apple." And, "Oh, I need to get your credit card number." And she gave it to him. "And I need to have access to your computer." And she gave it to him. And then she calls me up after the fact. And she says, "Did I do the wrong thing?" And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So and I've seen these before where it'll pop up and, "Oh, you have a bunch of viruses." And it's like, it's just, she was on Facebook or something, and she rolled over in one of those ads on the side, and it popped up and did this. And anyway, I've had several.
Call Apple directly if someone tells you have a virus. Don't call the number they give you.
Oh yeah, well, or
just I've been getting the same thing, and I was going to look for information on how to get rid of it. That they say it there from McAfee, and it's got a it's got a number of lopoo.co.in.
Thomas, is it a text message you're getting?
Yeah, or a notification on my screen, and I've got it on 2 or 3 different machines. And
go ahead, Peter.
I was going to say, if it ends in IN, I suspect that's India. So it's probably, and that's where this other scam was run out of that my sister-in-law got into.
And I'm sure things, but I haven't been able to get rid of it is the problem. And I'm
one of the things I found out, that you'll get an email saying, this is Bank of America, or this is Amazon, we need to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. If you look at the address where it came from, it's a private email. It's, that's how you can tell right away.
Yeah, well, I know it's a scam, but I'm just getting irritated by it. About every 5 or 10 minutes, I'll get a message saying 13 viruses have been detected in your browser. So,
does it pop up when your browser is running?
I guess.
And it's consistent. I've got it on my on 3 different machines that are all running Apple.
Thomas, you've got malware, it sounds like. So what I would do is run something that you can check for malware on, your computer, because that's what it sounds like. And you should be able to find that and get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm running 2 different malware things at this point, and neither one of them found it.
Well, you might, I don't know what you're running, but you might try it with something different, because that's my guess.
Also, well, and also Google around and see, Google around and for that kind of thing, and
Yeah, I found it,
obviously somebody else has
the
gotten rid of
directions
it.
are pretty complicated to get rid of it, and they almost all have you doing it and subscribing to some sort of a program.
Are there is what you're popping up? Are there notifications?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you usually use Safari?
I use both Safari and Google Chrome.
Okay. Check your Safari. Go to Safari. And go to your Safari settings or preferences, whichever one running, and go to websites. And go down on the sidebar where it says notifications. And look at the things that are listed. And do you see an icon on any of the things that are listed that looks a little like the old settings or preferences icon, but maybe with a little red mark on it? That's what you're getting your notifications from. Go through and deny it, do the little drop down that says deny, and then highlight it, and then click the thing that says remove, and they'll go away.
Okay, I'll try it. Thank you for your advice.
And you have to do that probably on all your machines, because it's infected your Safari. It's a known malware thing, but it attacks the notifications in Safari for some reason. Don't ask me why, but it's unlike any other malware, and it doesn't show up in any of the malware things.
All right, thanks, and good luck, Thomas. All right, well, as you guys can see here, I came across this a week or two ago, and
Glenn, I've had a question.
Yeah.
One of my most entertaining things to do is when I get one of these spam calls, is to keep them busy with me for as long as possible. And I'll feed them bogus information and anything I can say to keep them busy with me before they get around to recognizing that they're being spammed and will not be bothering a bunch of little old ladies. Am I hurting myself by doing that?
I have heard that the last thing you want to do is let them know they've got a live one on the line, on the hook, so to speak.
Well, as soon as you answer the phone, you've got that. And if your answering machine answers it, you've got it too.
Yeah, but typically speaking, since they're calling or texting millions of numbers, I think they just move on if they don't actually have somebody that talks to them. So everything I have heard from security people is, just, and I mean, I hate to say this, but if I don't recognize the number, generally I don't answer the phone. I let it go to voicemail. And if it's something important, then I call them back,
Exactly. If it's an important call, they'll leave a voicemail. I don't answer unless I know the number.
The only pain with that is if you're waiting for a call from, like, say, a doctor or somebody, I know that sucks. Yeah, Don, I would just ignore them. I wouldn't, interact with them at all. Because again, these days, you don't know if somebody's recording something and using your voice or certain words you're using. Because we've seen
I was going to say, like you said initially, don't ever say, yes, I can hear you. If I do pick it up because I'm waiting for a call from a doctor or something, I just sit there saying nothing until somebody says hello and identifies who they are.
And the first thing you'll hear from them is a little doink, and then somebody starts talking.
Yeah, I always answer the phone because I don't want to waste time clearing my voicemails. I pick up the phone and I say hello, and if I don't get a human being responding in 3 seconds, I hang up.
Amen.
All right, guys, I'm gonna keep moving here. So anyway, I came across something put out by the NSA, National Security Agency. This is 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and they were advising that people reboot their phone once a week for security reasons, to help keep your phone secure. And so I thought it was interesting, and this was part of a quote they put out. Threats to mobile devices are more prevalent and increasing in scope and complexity. Users of mobile devices desire to take full advantage of the features available on those devices, but many of the features provide convenience and capability, but sacrifice security. The best practices guide outlines steps the users can take to better protect personal devices and information. And so I thought this was very interesting. I'm not going to go through all of these things, but this is put out again by the NSA, and they've got basically things that they're advising. And you can see they go through this. I would say if it's something you're interested, you might take a screenshot of this. And I know for Gamug, we'll put up on our site. I always send the PDF version of this. I'll actually send it for both CatMac and Gamug. So there's a PDF version of my presentation here that you guys can look back at later. But some of these are interesting. I know, like, I'll just touch on a few of them, like the applications one. I've heard this from a lot of different security people that we're too reliant on applications, especially like social media applications, and we'd be better off not to install some applications and instead use our browsers to access stuff. The applications are real easy, but they're also, generally speaking, a lot more likely to be passing our data along than, say, if we were using Safari through Safari. Basically, the reason they're saying to restart your phone is because whatever malicious may be going on there, just by restarting your phone can interrupt that process. And generally, when you restart it, it clears all these processes out of your phone that are going on. Of course, they have warnings about using Bluetooth and Wi-Fi that, are not at your home. I know for myself, once I connect to Wi-Fi when I'm not at home on my devices, I will then always turn on my VPN at that point, trying to, protect myself. So anyway, like I said, I'm not going to go through all of this stuff, but it's worth it if you, like I said, you take a screenshot or look at my PDF later, just to think about, some of these things. And this comes from the NSA. They also, this next screen I'm showing you is, they kind of have a little chart here. What can I do to prevent? And they're little like things you can see, like, spear phishing malware, malicious apps, down the list. And then it kind of gives you a chart here of what they recommend. So again, if this is something, just for security's sake, you might want to grab a screenshot of this, or again, later, it'll be in my PDF here. So I'll just leave this up for another 5 or 10 seconds before I move on instead of going through every one of these. But I presume if there's anybody who knows about security of devices, it's the NSA. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on now. All right, so if you are a Netflix watcher and you do it through an Apple TV, Netflix is or has just dropped support for non-4K Apple TVs. And that happened on July 31st. So if all of a sudden you couldn't access Netflix and you're having problems with your Apple TV, that's a possibility as to why. So basically, there's going to be 4 Apple TV models that will continue support for Netflix that you can see here. The 4th gen Apple TV HD, the Apple TV 4K first generation, the Apple TV 4K third generation Wi-Fi, and the Apple TV 4K Wi-Fi plus Ethernet. So I put a little information as far as the model number and the year, that kind of stuff. So if you're concerned that, about this, you can see the devices that work. By the way, as a side note, if you're using one of the old Apple TV remotes, I highly recommend the new remote that came with the Apple TV 4K third generation. It's the thicker remote that's, more like this thick. It's a little more boxy. It's just so much easier to handle. I always hated those Apple remotes. They're so tiny and slippery in your hands. And you can also buy those remotes, by the way, to work with some of your older models. You don't have to actually buy the whole Apple TV if you don't want. Okay, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Apple launched their Apple Maps on the web. So besides using your standalone Apple Maps app that comes, with your phone or your MacBook or your iPad, Apple also, now you can do this on the web as well, just like, Google has done for a long time. And so they technically say it's still a beta, but if it's, beta.maps.apple.com, and this is the interface here that you're looking at. And so like I just selected a park here in St. Louis, Queenie Park. And so you can see what, kind of pops up here on the sidebar. You get information about it. And sorry, I thought I had something else on here, but I didn't. But it works just the same as Apple Maps in general, but now you can just go to a website to do this right when you're in your browser. And so, like I said, Apple is calling this a beta. So, I presume that means they're still going to be creating some other usage that goes with it. But as far as the interface, it'll feel very similar to using the Apple Maps app that you're used to. All right. I don't know if you guys ever, yeah, Carl. Carl, you're muted. I can't hear you.
What's being made available now is not maps as a whole. It's the fancy functionality that we've gotten used to using for GPS purposes. It's been possible to get Apple Maps on websites for a couple of years. And
Right.
my website, I've been doing that through the API.
Right. Yeah. This is just supposed to be something that is totally standalone from that. But yeah, you're right, Carl. You have been able to access it through websites, but Apple's making a big deal about this. So I don't know if you guys ever get annoyed. I've got a pair of the AirPod Pro 2s that I use. And sometimes I get annoyed because I have devices that are stealing my AirPods from one another. I'll be sitting here and I've got a video on my MacBook Pro playing, and then all of a sudden I turn around, I flip on my phone or my iPad, and wham, it takes my AirPods over there now. And for some reason, I've never figured out why. It always seems to make my MacBook Pro my last device that it wants to connect. So it's like if I'm watching a video and it ends or it pauses immediately, as soon as it does that, bam, it takes my AirPods somewhere else. And, I like that, my devices pick up my AirPods right away. But, if you're doing that and you get annoyed, as sometimes I will, you can actually stop that automatic switching. And so if where you have to manually switch it. So if you want to do that, if you're on a Mac, connect your AirPods to your Mac. So they're actually connected. They recognize it. Under the Apple, go into settings. And once you're in settings, scroll down till you see your AirPods in the left-hand menu. Click on that. You can see where I've got it blue there. And then you'll see where it says connect to this Mac, and change that from automatically to when last connected to this Mac. And so you can also do the same thing on your iPhone. Similar thing, connect your AirPods to the phone, go into settings, tap on your AirPods. Those come up at the top of your list there in settings. And then you're going to do the same thing, switch it from automatically to when last connected to this phone. And if that's annoying to you, it'll stop it from just automatically switching from the device to device. All right. Anybody here use DuckDuckGo as their browser? Okay. Yeah, it's my, I use DuckDuckGo a lot, but I do it within Safari. There's also a DuckDuckGo browser. It's my search engine of choice that I use. So I don't know if anybody's heard of these. They're DuckDuckGo Bangs. And it's designed to be shortcuts in your searches that will take you to a specific page instead of a page of search results. So for example, if you want to search for a specific item on Amazon, you can use what they call a bang just to take you directly from your browser to that item on Amazon, rather than say doing a generic search. And I know you might be saying, well, why don't I just go to Amazon? And you can if you know exactly what you're looking for, but this will also cut out kind of the middleman and skip a step or two. And so, if you have DuckDuckGo set as your default search in your browser, whether you're using their browser or the Safari browser, you just type this into your browser search bar and you'll arrive right on the page that you want. So I'll explain how this works. In your search bar, you have to start with an exclamation point. This is saying I'm doing a bang. And then there's an abbreviation code for the website you want to use. So my example with Amazon, if you want to do a search on Amazon, you would type exclamation point A and then followed by your search term. So if I want to search for AirPods in Amazon, if I type exclamation point A space AirPods, the result I got from doing that was this page here of AirPods on Amazon. And then I can select which AirPods I want. Now, the one downside to this, before I do that, if you want to search something on Netflix, it's exclamation point NF. And I just picked up the show I'd watched recently called Sprint. And if I do that, then I get this. In Netflix, it doesn't take you right to that, but it will be the first thing that pops up in your results on that Netflix page. So the only downside to these bangs is if you don't know the abbreviations, it kind of defeats the purpose. So you've got to get to know the abbreviations that you want to use to be able to use this. And you can see here are some of the real common ones that people are using. Like if I want to use Wikipedia, it's exclamation point W. And then I do my whatever term and it takes me right to that Wikipedia page. So basically it's trying to eliminate kind of the middleman of that page of search results having to go through that. You can also, by the way, go to this link I have here, duckduckgo.com/bangs, and you can search for bangs on there, or they give you categories that are there to find shortcuts. At first, you're kind of going, well, why do I want to go through all that? But if you get used to the shortcuts like anything else, then it speeds up your process immensely. So it's kind of an interesting thing to use. Okay. Yeah, Carl.
The one that I use all the time is G for a Google search, because DuckDuckGo comes up as the default in my browser. If I want to go to Google, just bang G and away I go.
Right. Of course, I tend to avoid Google searches because I don't really trust Google so much, but so that's why, although I will give a shout out to Google, I do find their search results to be superior to DuckDuckGo's search results sometimes. So I will give them that. All right, there is a piece of software out called UTM System Emulator, and it's for Mac OS and iOS. And it is a full, as they say here, their description, UTM is a full-featured system emulator and virtual machine host for iOS and Mac OS. And it's based off of QEMU, QEMU. In short, it allows you to run Windows, Linux, and more on your Mac, iPhone, and iPad. So this company, Turing Software, has developed an app called UTM. And like they say, you can run a virtual system on your machine. It's basically works on Silicon Macs, iPhones or iPads that run iOS 14 or later and Vision Pro. So you can't do it with like old Intel Macs or anything like that. And you can see here, like these are screenshots. That's a screenshot of Windows XP on a Mac that you can run with this software. So once you have UTM installed, then you follow their prompts to install a system to use, and they've got like a complete user guide to help you. Here's what I find odd about this is you can download the app for free from their website, but if you go into the Mac store, there's a version, but it costs you $9.99. I don't understand this because I'm like, why would I want to go to the Apple store there and pay $9.99 when I can download it for free right from their website? And the iOS iPad OS version is called UTM SE, and that one's free to download. So I don't really get why the $9.99 version. I will admit I have not tried loading these, so there is some learning curve and legwork with this if it's something you want to give a try too. But basically, you can download one of their pre-built emulators, and you do this. You see the little welcome to UTM, and you can create one or you can emulate one of theirs, and you can download that. I'm not going to go through a big explanation how to use this, but if it's something that you want to try to use, I just played with it a little bit, and it seemed fairly straightforward to use. Okay, I want to talk real quick about a device that I recently bought called the Sofa Baton X1S and give a little bit of a review with that. Now, I know that Nathan Lott warned me off of this. He wasn't too happy with it when he tried to use it, but I was a little desperate. So at our house here, we've got a finished basement, and in my finished basement, I've got 4 main areas. So I've got a kind of game/pool area where I've got a TV there. I've got a built-in bar that has a TV, and I've got a theater room, which I'm sitting in right now. And then I've got an unfinished storage area where my workbench and everything is in the back, back area of the basement. So each of the finished areas has a television, and I use my Apple TV to communicate with all those with just one Apple TV. And so that Apple TV and my other devices are, well, you see the screen behind me. They're through that wall in the unfinished part of the basement. I've got a rack there where that stuff is. And so to run these, and mainly here in my theater room, for the past 7 years, I've been using a Logitech Harmony remote, which is kind of the gold standard of remotes. And so with the Harmony, you can access devices all over your house through Wi-Fi. I mean, I can access my, things from upstairs that are going on in my house. And so it was great because basically it operated my projector above me. It operated stuff in the other room, and I could make my whole theater system in here run. And it's great. But in 2021, Logitech got out of the remote business, and they have gradually reduced support for the Harmony. Now, I had no problems up until about 6 months ago. My Harmony it started to quit talking to certain devices. Some it worked with, some it didn't. And it can't connect to the Harmony servers anymore to update what's in the device, my devices and things. And so it just was starting to not work as well. So I was looking for a replacement. Well, I haven't found a direct replacement, but, and I'm not sure there is a replacement in the market directly for it, but I did find the Sofa Baton X1S. And so it's kind of the closest thing that I've been able to find. And this is what I've started using. And so I'm just going to play you a real short video so you guys can kind of get an idea of what it is. Whoop, that was not where I wanted to go. So I am just mainly using the Sofa Baton in my theater room. It's not able to access all kinds of devices all over my house like the Harmony did. Now, what I've got the Epson projector here in this room. And if you can see my picture, a big 110-inch theater screen back here behind me. As I said, the rest of my AV equipment is in the next room on a rack. So, and that's like where my receiver and my Apple TV are. Now, as I said, the Sofa Baton doesn't work off of Wi-Fi like Harmony, and it requires a hub in the same room to operate devices. So how do I use this with devices in two different rooms? Well, I've got the hub here in my theater room so that it can communicate with my projector here. It will operate my Apple TV in the next room, no problem, because it's using it. Basically, the Apple TV is more advanced than the rest of my devices, and it's operating there through Bluetooth with that. But the only thing that I can't operate is my receiver. So what I've done is I've run basically an IR repeater from my hub here through the wall, and I've got that, and I'll show you pictures here, literally sitting on my receiver, and it sends the signal from here, and then I can run all my devices. I'll show you a few pictures, but currently the Sofa Baton X1S costs $189 on Amazon. But if you follow the price, it constantly is dropping and jumping up, dropping and jumping up, dropping and jumping up. I got alerted to a flash sale because I put a price follow on there, and it popped up for $159, and that's when I bought it. So if you watch it, you can do that. So this is what my theater room looks like. And you can see the projector there on the ceiling on the upper right. And you can see my projector there on the wall. And then where I've got, this is the rack of components I've got in my back room. And what I did is, if you look at the receiver there on the window, you can see I kind of taped it on there. That's the IR repeater. I've got it right on top of the little sensor for that. I figured out where it was on that receiver screen, and I just taped it there to make sure I get a direct line right to there. And then my hub, you can kind of see it sitting there on top of my subwoofer there, next to the wall, and I've just got the wire, going right through the wall to the next room there. And so, this is how I literally can press the button here, and I'll show you. You can kind of see the screen here. I've got it set up as an activity to turn everything on. And I would say I'm giving the Sofa Baton a B- because it doesn't rise to the level of the Harmony. I didn't expect it to. It's pretty simple to use. The remote works pretty well. It's got a great battery life. I mean, they say you can use it for 60 days without charging it. And so far I've been using it for weeks and haven't charged it. You don't have to have it exactly pointed at the hub. So I like that. And the app that you work everything on your iPhone, that's where you set everything up on the iPhone for the remote. It's pretty easy to use. So those are all real positives. The biggest con I've encountered is it took me a while to figure how to get everything wired to use. I felt like they could have given you better instructions. There was a lot of trial and error there. When you set up an activity, so that's like I want 2 or 3 devices to turn on when I go to press it on or turn it off. It works most of the time, but occasionally it doesn't always work perfectly. So I've noticed, there's every now and then maybe it won't turn off all my devices except for one of them or something. The other thing that I'm not crazy about on the remote, if you look closely on that picture of the remote, right below the screen there is it's a little roller ball. And that's how you navigate the screen up and down with the roller ball. And then you click that to go into that device you want to use. Then below it is a little trackpad, kind of a little D-ring thing where you can use the ring or the trackpad. And I don't like that there's 2 different things there, because I find sometimes I'm going to the wrong one, and I gotta make sure I'm doing that. So there's a little bit of a learning curve, but would I recommend it? Yes, but it takes a little time, just to get things set up. So that's been a replacement. It's working pretty well for me.
The reason I didn't like it at all is because it does not work well with my Spectrum box.
Okay. Yeah. And I don't have that. So, yeah, I gave Spectrum the boot about 6 months ago. So, yeah, but Nathan, I know you were saying that before, and I thought I was going to at least give it a try. If you buy stuff off Amazon, you can always send it back. So I figured out, well, it's at least worth trying. So far, so good. And finally, I'll leave you with this. My wife likes to watch this TV game show called Split Second. And so they have a thing, and the contestants have to come up with the fact or whatever that goes with each thing. And so we're watching, and I'm just working on the computer, and my ears and eyes perk up because all of a sudden they have an Apple related question. And it says, match each fact about the tech company Apple to the decade when it occurred. So anybody, when was the company founded? What decade?
70s.
20th century,
Peace.
1970s.
1970s. What about original iMac released?
1998.
How about, so the 90s, Apple Watch introduced.
2015.
So here's the little clip.
Match each fact about the tech company Apple to the decade when it occurred. Company is founded, original iMac released, Apple Watch introduced. Sam?
Company founded 80s.
70s, 76 actually. Karen?
Apple Watch introduced 2000s.
2010s. First was sold in 2015. Joe? Original iMac released 90s. 90s, it was 1998. Joe, another 200 points.
So there you go.
Match each fact.
All right. Stop my share. So there you go. Those are my goodies for you guys.
So Glenn, how do you watch video on your computer?
I'm not understanding what.
I thought you were I thought you said you were sitting there at your computer watching the television.
Oh no, my wife was watching the television. I was just sitting there working on my computer.
Ah,
And all of a
okay.
sudden an Apple question pops up. I'm like, hey, wait, hold on. What was that? So I had to put it back, and then I just put my phone up and recorded that so I could
Oh.
share it with you guys. But by the way, our TV provider is Fubo TV. So I've got it on my computer, on my iPad, my phone. I can watch it on whatever device I want. I mean, we normally watch it through the Apple TV on our television. So, all right, Nathan, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, so I'm going to be talking about a product from Elgato, and Peter was talking about it before, that they are the ones that made the TV software, but they have pivoted into these the Stream Deck, and a lot of people use it for actually live streaming and blogging and podcasting, but it's also an excellent launcher, and that's what I mainly use it for. So let me show you what it looks like. So it's this little box here. Has light up buttons.
Hey, Nathan, you're pretty far from your microphone.
It has light up buttons. And this is the 15 button one. There are multiple sizes. You can change the page. So you can scroll through different pages. And each button will launch a different app or a shortcut. So let me show you how to set it up. Right in the middle of the Stream Deck is the Stream Deck app. So if you bring that up, that shows you the configurable area. So you can have multiple profiles, and you can also run it on your phone. If you don't want to buy a device, you can just run it from your phone, just kind of like a phone remote. But it does have a subscription for that app. Now, I have the MK2, which is a 15 button. It's on Elgato's website for 149, but the last time I looked, it was on Amazon for 125.99. There's a mini version with 6 buttons for $60, a max version with 32 buttons for $230, and then the Stream Deck Plus with 8 buttons, knobs, and a digital readout for $199. So let's go to Elgato's website and look at those. So this is the brand new one. This is the Stream Deck Neo with 8 buttons and a digital readout for the time and date. This is the one I have, the MK 15 button one. The Stream Deck Plus has 8 buttons, a digital readout that you can swipe, kind of like the touch bar, and then 4 knobs for adjusting volume and other things. And then there is the Stream Deck XL. That's the one with 32 buttons for $249. So what is cool about this is that, for example, I can add in a shortcut. So if I press this button, I have it going straight to the New York Times crosswords page. Or I can open up Day One or Logic or go to Safari and open up Facebook or Authy, Camo. I can go straight to my Bank of America page, my banking, my wife's banking and my banking. Go straight to YouTube. Go straight to where I pay my mortgage. To our UT Health portal. Or this one I have set to open up Chrome and go to Verizon because sometimes Verizon's website doesn't work on Safari. So the way that you set it up is on the side, you have different apps. So you can play audio, stop audio with the built-in soundboard. You can have a timer, brightness, and sleep. For those are the basic Stream Deck apps. System, you can go to a website, do a hotkey switch, open a website or close one, or play some multimedia. You can do controls like set brightness, adjust brightness, set color. This is for streamers, so a bunch of things for Twitch. Here's another one I like is launch shortcuts. So if I drag this one in here, and then I can pick from all of the shortcuts I have and choose which one I want to launch. And then I can go through and either get an icon from a file or go through the Stream Deck icon library and pick one that I might want as just a generic basic one. It will also work through Farrago, which is by Rogue Amoeba for doing like soundboard type of things. So if I do rock loop, it opens up Farrago and plays the rock. Or another one I found is just using shortcuts or system settings to just go straight to Launchpad. Oh, and that one's not working. What I found is that it does have integration with Better Touch Tool, but the big problem with that is that Better Touch Tool has to be open, so it kind of defeats the purpose of using it. And so that is the Stream Deck. Any questions?
Does it work with Keyboard Maestro?
You can do hotkeys. So if you let me go back to the system. So if you have a hotkey that you have in like a command or command option control, whatever that you have set up in Keyboard Maestro, then you can just put that and it'll launch it.
Nathan?
Yes.
By chance, does this have the capability of, if not recording, at least setting up for capture a streamed event? I've noticed a lot of them don't seem to care when they start and stop. The previous show might, overlap the hour by, anywhere from 3 to 7 minutes. And then this will start up and it will go, you expect for 60 minutes. So you're recording from the top of the hour to the top of the hour and missing the cliffhanger. Does it have that capability of watching for an active stream if you're going to need to be in a position to record it? Not necessarily with.
I haven't played with any of the stream stuff, so I can't answer that.
Okay.
I mainly just use it as a launcher.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about my last app and then hand it off to Glenn to finish us out. But I just want to talk quickly about setup. And if you were here last month, John Voorhees briefly mentioned setup, that it's for those that want a subscription to over 250 apps and with just one subscription. So just for $9.99 a month, you have access to 250 apps. It kind of makes it like an app store right on your computer, and you just download whatever you want that's available in it. Now, I've always been kind of hesitant to try it out because if you don't know, my name is Nathan Lott and I'm an app addict. I have like 300 apps on my iPhone, 350 on my Mac, 400 on my iPad. And so I've had a lot of these apps already, even before setup even came around. And so I already own a lot of the apps that are in setup, but let me go through some of the ones that are included. What I'm using right here for mind mapping is called MindNode, and that is one of the apps that is in setup. But apps that I own already, Text Sniper, which you can do Shift Option Command 2 and like take any text that's in a video or in a basically a video where now Apple has live text where you can actually select text within in a picture. But before they had that, or if you have a video that's not supported by live text, you can just pretend like you're taking a screenshot of it, drag it over it, and then it actually copies that text, OCRs that text, and then you can paste it into a web browser, or like if it's in a different language, you can put it into Google Translate or whatever you want to use. Clean My Mac X, which is by the makers of Setup. It's a great cleaning utility. Bartender 5, and they've had a little bit of controversy lately because they got bought out and under some kind of shady conditions. But it's still a good app. Pop Clip, which I love. I love this because you can highlight something. Let's see if I can find something I can. And it puts up this clip, this, what would you call it?
Menu.
A menu right above it. So you can copy, it tells you how many words. You can take that, whatever you highlighted, and go straight to Google Translate or Maps or Hootspot or Google or DuckDuckGo, or do a Google search on it. And it has a ton of extensions that you can add. Let's see. Paste is a copy and clipboard. Yoink is a shelf. MindNode, which is what this is. iStat menus, Hootspot, Better Touch Tool, Do, Craft, Downy, Permute, PDF Squeezer, Solver, Forklift, Luminar Neo. All of these are included in a Setup subscription. And then ones that I've downloaded so far from the app just to try out is Chronicle, which is to keep track of my tons of subscriptions that I have now. And when they're due. Clear VPN, which is a great VPN program. CleanShot X for doing screenshots. Awesome Habits, Note Plan, Ulysses, and SIP. So here is Setup. It just looks like an app store. And you've got some editorial. And then you have some how-tos, AI image generation. You have your favorites if you add any. These are the ones that I've installed on my Mac. Collection kits, so some starter kits, AI apps, digital security apps, designer apps, developer apps, manager apps. And all you do if you want one is just hover your mouse over it, says install, and it installs it, and that's it. If you want it on your iOS, some of the apps offer an iOS version. So like Note Plan, it says get the iOS app, and what you would do with your phone or your iPad is you would scan the QR code. It brings up a little pop-up on your iPad or iPhone, and you can download the full version without having to pay for it in iOS. And that only works on some of the apps, so I just I've been a little hesitant because I already had a lot, but if you're just love playing with apps like I do, then for $10 a month you can have access to over 250 of them. And so that is a setup. Any questions about that?
Are you currently running Bartender on your Mac right now?
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, we need an intervention with you, bud.
See, these are the ones that I have hidden.
Oh my God, help me. Wow. Yeah, I think I got about 20 in my menu bar that I have control over, but yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I quit using Bartender about 2 months ago, and
yeah,
we'll see if I go back to it. But Nathan, I thought it was interesting you mentioned there, because I've thought about getting set up because I've already got, I think, like 16 of the apps on that list that I've already either bought or is subscribed to. And then I'm just like, well, do I really need more of these? And then if I'm already subscribing to something like, like Forecast Bar, for instance, there's different levels of subscription. I just wasn't sure how easy it would be to, like, do I have to get rid of what I have now and then redo it? How does that all work?
No, so I'm, as you know, I've already bought all of those apps and cleaned my Mac and all of that, and I just haven't touched those within setup, so they're kind of living in different places.
Okay.
Or living in the same place, but in different worlds. Now, what I think I might do is like I got rid of ExpressVPN and for this Clear VPN, so I could just use the setup version, and then I think my Clean My Mac expires in January. So if I still have setup in January, I think I'm going to drop that subscription and just use the setup version.
Yeah, that's
Glenn, to help answer your question, most of the time, if you have the paid for version of the app and you want to switch over to the setup version, it's seamless. You just install a setup version and uninstall the local version, and it's done.
Okay.
And all of your if you do it, some of the apps require a little bit more work than that, but most of the times your settings and everything else will move right over.
Plus, you automatically get any updates that might have sneaked in.
Nathan, I have a question.
Yes.
I think the answer to this is going to be no, but in your experience, does SetApp give you access to any Microsoft Office applications?
No. These are all Mac developers. So there's no big companies in it. These are all pretty much indie developers.
Okay, thanks. That's a pity because yeah, Microsoft Office, if Microsoft 365, if you do the subscription, that's almost $10 a month or maybe $10 a month just for that alone. So that makes a SetApp quite a bargain.
But if you calculate all the ones that I bought before setup, if I had setup, it would have made it a lot more worth it. All right, so we'll finish off the meeting with Glenn talking about his AI.
All right. Well, I'm hoping this is going to be kind of fun for you guys, and I'll ask for a little bit of help from you all at times as we go through this. So obviously, I don't know, about you all, but it seems like every time I turn around, I'm bombarded with that phrase AI. I'm so sick of hearing about AI. It's like that's all everybody talks about. But I've kind of been putting together a list of interesting AI related websites that I have discovered over the last, I don't know, 6 to 8 months or so. And I thought I would share these with you all. Some of these are just for fun, others for productivity, or maybe a little bit of both. So I'm hoping that you guys will find these interesting. And once again, just like my goodies, I'll have a PDF that I'll of all these presentations that I'll get out to everybody so that you'll be able to access this and find these sites if you're interested in them. So let me pull this up. All right. Can you all see this?
Yes.
See it? Okay, great. All right. So I've got just about 10 of these. I'm going to kind of run through here real quick with you all, and hopefully you'll find some of these interesting. All right. The first one is Claude AI. I know that with Gamug, we did a thing last year on Chat GPT. And so Claude AI is a chatbot similar to that, or like Gemini or Copilot. But personally, I think this is the best one that I've used, and it's my go-to AI chatbot. And I was turned on to it by a friend of mine who uses it for a lot of business stuff. And it can process up to 200,000 words at once. And so it's kind of cool. If you want Claude to analyze text, it's really good at doing that. You can upload files. It'll summarize, them or answer questions you have about them. It can also analyze web pages. There is a free and a paid option. And if you use the free option, you're limited on how much data and how many questions you can ask. Although they don't tell you exactly what the limit is. What I found is if you're doing heavy duty stuff, it'll just say you've only got so many questions left over the next 8 hours. And there is an AI app that goes with this. So I kind of asked a question I thought would be appropriate. I said to Claude, I'm the vice president of the Gateway Area Macintosh User Group in St. Louis. Please write me an introduction, and I'll read what it came up with. It said, as the vice president of the Gateway Area Macintosh User Group in St. Louis, hello, says your name, the vice president of the Gateway Area Macintosh Users Group here in St. Louis. Our group is dedicated to helping Mac enthusiasts get the most out of their Apple devices. Whether you're a longtime Mac user or new to the Apple ecosystem, we offer a welcoming community for sharing knowledge, troubleshooting issues, and exploring the latest in Mac technology. I'm excited to connect with fellow Mac lovers and contribute to our thriving local tech community. So that's what it wrote when I asked that. And it said, would you like me to expand on this or tailor it to specific context? And I just said, please make it more concise. And so it does a great job of just narrowing that down to a few sentences. And so I personally just have found that I get much better results from Claude than I do any other programs that I have used so far. So here's what Claude looks like. And you can see, somebody want to give me a prompt to put in?
I did a kind of a cute one, a children's story, where I said, there's a puppy who's blind in one eye, just got picked up by a family. They have a backyard with a fence and a couple of other little things. And it wrote a beautiful little story about this puppy and butterflies and all that they chase around the yard.
Okay. Were you doing that with Claude? Have you used this, or was that with something else?
That was with 3.5 Chat GPT, I think.
Okay. I don't know if there's something anybody wanted me to just as a
How about public speaking trivia?
Trivia?
Public speaking trivia.
Well, I'm in a meeting.
Okay, here's some interesting public speaking trivia. Glossophobia is the fear of public speaking. It affects up to 75% of the people to some degree. So bam, it came up with trivia about public speaking.
Feel better. Bye-bye.
I find Claude to be pretty quick, responsive. I like the way it writes. That's my biggest thing I have found with Claude is just the language it uses. I much prefer it to any of the other chatbots I've used. And so anyway, so that's my go-to my go-to chatbot that I use. All right, can you guys see my presentation again?
Still see Claude.
You're still on the website?
There we go.
Okay. All right. The next one I want to share with you is called AI Emojis Generator. And so it does what it's named. You can already search for generated emojis, or you can generate your own emojis. And it does a pretty nice job generating them, although you will find some odd results as well. And I did a couple here just to show you guys. I've got Steve Jobs using a MacBook, and then I did one of Steve Wozniak as well. And that's what it came up with for me. And so I thought those were pretty good. And so if you go to the website here, you can find all kinds of things. So I don't know, let's just say I search for iPhone and I put that in. Well, I don't know why I got one iPhone. It didn't do a very good job there.
Glenn, if you change screens, we didn't.
Oh, you're not seeing my browser?
No.
No, we are seeing your presentation.
I guess it's going to make me stop. Okay. This is going to, I tried this out before. It was taking me right back and forth. So let me do something real quick here. I'm just going to.
Usually if you share your desktop, you can bounce between.
Yeah, I'm going to have to, that's what I'm going to have to do. So give me a second here.
You can just say share again and switch over. You don't even have to get out.
That's what I'm going to try to do here. Sorry about that, guys. All right. There we go. Can you see that now?
Yes.
All right. So I don't know why this one did not come out well, but let's try Abraham Lincoln here. There you go. And these are all the emojis that it came up with. And you can see some of them are better than others, but it does a pretty good job. I don't know. Let's see. Let's try Bob Dylan. And so it does a pretty nice job with emojis, and it's kind of fun.
What about the one from the keynote, cat on a surfboard?
What am I looking for? Say it again.
The one from the keynote, cat on a surfboard, when they were talking about Genmojis.
There you go. Although we got some sharks and dinosaurs and other things there, but anyway, so if you're looking for emojis, I've actually taken things from here and used them for other stuff. So you know,
Glenn, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
Tell it Doctor Who. Now there's only 14 of them, so let's see which one comes off.
Well, that's what it came up with.
Okay, it didn't recognize him.
Yeah, it's like it's just doing doctors.
Yeah.
So, what if I do it? I wonder if I do it that way.
Quote it.
Capitalize
the W.
I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but no, it didn't seem to.
Okay.
So
put it in quotes, Glenn.
No. Yeah, so some things it's better with than other things. So but it's a fun thing to play with. So can you now see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, great. All right, my next one is called Goblin Tools. And this is kind of an interesting website because it's just got a number of different tools you can use. To me, the most interesting ones are the language tools, Formalizer and Judge. The Formalizer will have you write something, and then it will change the tone of your language as you tell it what tone you want it to use. The Judge will have you write something, and it'll tell you what kind of tone you're using. How are you coming across? Another one of the tools is Professor. It'll explain anything to you want. They've got in there a chef tool. If you give it a list of ingredients that you have, it'll tell you what you can make with them. So it just has some interesting, so I have to, okay, except that I have to, are you seeing the website here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Great. All right. Some of these like magic to do, it just helps you make a list. I don't think are that interesting, but formalizer, like I want to go to bed. And so if I want to make this sound more polite and I hit convert, I would like to get some rest now. Or if I want to be more sarcastic and I hit convert, oh, what a thrill it is to stay awake. Who needs sleep when you can bask in the delightful glow of insomnia? So it'll change the tone of anything you write. So if you had a whole paragraph, or even like, you're writing something for work, you could have it, kind of change the tone. Judge, enter your text here. Let's see. I'm trying to think of, why do I have to go to work today? And if I judge it, it conveys a sense of reluctance or frustration. So, sometimes we're not sure, like, especially if you're writing an email, well, how does this tone come across? Whoop, sorry, guys. Give me 1 second here. Lost my phone, just jumped off the back of my MacBook here. Anyway, it'll tell you what kind of tone you're using, because I think sometimes in our communications, when we're texting or emailing, we're not really aware sometimes of how our tone comes across. That other one, professor, I was mentioning, somebody give me something to put in here you want to learn about. No one?
What's the difference between the special and general theories of relativity?
Good. Right. I can't type here. All right, explain. It's taking its time.
Taking it quite a while.
Two important ideas created by Albert Einstein, and they explain how space-time and gravity work. And then it goes into a big explanation and then gives you an example here. So I'm not going to go through.
What's cool on this one?
What's that?
What's cool on this one is the magic to do.
See, that's funny. I wasn't that impressed by it. I kind of was like, I'll let you.
Well, you can tell it's something, and then you press a button, and it tells you everything that goes into making that or doing that.
Right. Okay. So Nathan, give us an example so we can show them.
Just say laundry, and then you hit the little bookmark thing, blue bookmark thing next to the broom.
There we go. So it gives you a list of all the things that you might have to do for doing laundry. And so you could put anything in here and it would tell you how to do that. Like if I wanted to build something, I could put it in. I don't know, build tree house. Well, I guess I should do it along. Oh, there you go. And it would give me a list of all the things I need to do for that.
Can we see your desktop? We can't see.
You're not seeing this?
We're seeing you.
No, I'm seeing this.
I can see it.
I can see it.
Real small.
We see magic to do.
Okay. The other one I want to mention, the chef tool. So if you write down the ingredients you have, so let's say I put in tomatoes, bananas,
spam,
onion, spam. Well, that's pretty gross. Let's see what it comes up with. Spam and tomato banana skillet, serving size 2, ingredients. And then it goes through the instructions of what you could make here and how to cook it. So
does it include the number for the emergency room at the hospital?
So I thought this was kind of fun. You could just, I have these ingredients. What can I make for dinner tonight? So anyway, so that's Goblin tools. I thought that, it's got a bunch of different tools that are kind of fun there. All right, my next one is called Leonardo.ai. And so it's a platform for creating images and art. And by the way, this was a startup. It's now being bought out by Canva. that usually means that it will not be any good anymore, but we'll see. It requires an account to use, but there's a free plan. Not only can you generate images, but you can also animate them. And so that's kind of fun. And when you input an image suggestions, there are settings you can play with to change the type of image that's created. Whoop, didn't want to go there, I wanted to go here. All right, so you can bring your ideas to life, basically, as they say, and you can see all these different illustrations, photos, whatever, and you can try to create something. Although I'm not seeing everything because I got your guys' pictures in my way. Let me move these for a second. So you've got like a real-time canvas. You could just draw things and it'll come up with like an output here. So if you drew something, I think it was the last time I was playing around with, I literally just drew some lines and a shape and boom, it comes up with like this eye through a lens is what it generates from that. If you go to image creation here, my son wanted me to put in a Ferrari. So the last time I did that, so you can see what it generated, and you can like the style, like I can, there's different styles that I can, tell it I want it to do. I can basically like, do I want it to be a painting? Do I want it to be, like a photo or something like that? So you can do any of these kind of things. So anybody want to give me something to let it generate?
Dragons.
Dragon. Okay. Let's see what it comes up with here. And I haven't changed any of the settings.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
When we use these image generation tools, who owns the image or images the tool comes up with before us? Can we, copyright, can I use the image for any purpose I want if I find it suitable?
That, is a good question. I don't know, Terry. I would say I'm sure if you're somewhere in here, they have, where you can read about that. But I don't know. So you can see it created the dragon here. But you can, and I'm trying to kind of move through this a little quickly here, but you can change the type of image you get as well. And you have over here on the side in this bar, you've got all kinds of different settings that you can play with to change the type of image you're getting. So that's Leonardo here. It's kind of fun to play with.
Glenn and Terry, I think almost all software has an end user agreement. It's boring as hell, but you might want to scan through that about copywriting.
The next one I have is a game. It's called AI Dungeon. If you like text-based adventure games, then this will be for you. It's an AI guided role play experience, and it's got an interactive storytelling tool in it. And so when you start the game, you can choose to set your game in different settings. You have fantasy, mystery, zombies, apocalyptic, cyberpunk, or you can customize where, and the system will ask you to describe who you are and where you're at, and it'll design the game for you. You don't need an account to play, but if you want to be able to come back to the game later, then you've got to have an account to save it. Also, you only get so many actions for every 9-hour period with the free account. So if you have paid membership, you get more actions, more enhanced AI storytelling, do-overs, more of this kind of stuff. And so the last one, people have pre-made worlds. So I was trying some out. Like last one was a Star Wars type universe, and I was involved in like an adventure where I was trying to foil a plot of the Empire in here when I was trying this out. And so you can create your own type of adventures. If I want to start something new, I want to continue basic. So, you just pick the one you want and you go from there. And it's very interactive, and you can tell it just to continue and it'll continue on with the story, or you can interject and type something in there to, add to that story or do something different. So, so that's kind of fun if you're into that stuff. The next one I have is called Avatar, and it's a realistic avatar creator. And so you can use this for games, apps, metaverses. They have some specific things they're made to download for. Basically, when you start it, you use your phone to scan a QR code, and then it'll direct you to take 3 pictures. One where you're facing straight ahead, one to the left, one to the right, and then it's going to make your avatar from there, and then you get to edit your body, hairstyle, clothing. And so I have a couple of pictures here that I did. You'll notice the one on the right, that's me with some jeans and a shirt, and I've got a Vision Pro on there, if you guys can see that. The other one was during the European Soccer Championship, and I put me in a soccer uniform with a mohawk. So, so I was just having some fun with that. And you sign in. I'm not going to go through, I don't have the time to go through all of this with you guys, but like I said, it'll require you to take some pictures, and then you can, create avatars. So it's kind of a fun thing to play with and see what you come up with.
I would feel a little bit leery about using the camera like that, because it's exactly the same thing that Apple wants you to do for photo recognition when you're trying to log in.
Sure. Yeah, I get it.
Glenn, we have about 10 minutes.
That's what I'm trying to zip through these. Next one is animated drawings. And so it allows you to upload a drawing, and it'll take the drawing and it'll animate it. And so it's kind of silly, but it's sort of fun. Oh yeah, I forgot. It doesn't really like to work with Safari very well for whatever reason. So I always go to a different browser when I do this. If I can get my pictures out of the way. Hold on. All right. Well, I'm gonna kind of go through these. The next one is called Crayon, and it's another AI image and art generator. And so anything that comes to mind, it kind of will draw for you, and then it'll give you a number of examples to create that you can choose from. And so I don't know. Somebody give me something. Okay.
There's a lot. Oh.
The problem with this is you can see it takes about 60 seconds to generate an image. And so that's the one thing with the free account, that it takes a little time to do this. And if you want to generate those faster, then you have to get a paid account to go with it. But what it'll do is it'll come up, and you can see I've got it set on art. If you look below my search bar there, you can choose art, photo, drawing. So again, what do you want it to look like? I've just got it set on art. And so this thing is almost done. So I'm going to let it run, and then you can see what it comes up with. Come on. And so it's kind of fun to play with, because you can say, oh, I wanted art. No, I want it more photorealistic. I want more of a drawing, whatever you're looking for. And so you notice it didn't put Coke on there. I'm presuming that's just for copyright reasons. And so that's what it came up with. So that is that. And I know I'm kind of blowing through these because of time here, guys. Gamma is really interesting because it'll create documents and presentations and web pages for you. And so I've been playing with this one a little bit. And so like this one, I created this introduction to Apple Freeform. It created this presentation for me, and I kind of told it the settings I want and how I wanted it to look. And so this is what it came up with. And so it's kind of a thing of, what Apple Freeform is and how you use it and everything. And so, you can tell it, when I want to, create something, and I can, generate different things. Like I want to generate a website or a presentation. How many cards do I want it to be? Then it'll allow me to choose how I want the look of it. So Gamma is a really cool productivity site that you can use. Character AI. I got to tell you, my 8-year-old son plays with this and he can lose himself for like hours playing with this. Basically, it uses its neural language model to, like, it goes out and reads a ton of information about people, and it'll start having a conversation with you like it's that character. And so, my 8-year-old, like I said, loves to have conversations in character AI, and he'll sit there and laugh. And he and Darth Vader were actually saving puppies. So and so let's see. Again, I know I'm running out of time, but this would be a great tool. If I was still teaching, I would give my students an assignment to have a conversation with a historical figure. And it will talk to them like it is a real historical figure. And, and people have also created their own figures as well. And so if you can also, like I said, practice interviewing with it. So it's got some real practical uses, and it's a lot of fun because, like I said, you can talk to fictional characters. I was talking to Steve Jobs here, and, things like that. So it's a lot of fun. And I believe I have one more, I think. Oh, yeah. Suno Song Generator. Nathan, how much time do I have here? I can't hear you. You're muted.
6 minutes.
Okay. This is fun because you prompt it with an idea and what kind of song you want, and it'll create a song. You've got to have an account, but there's a free version will allow you to generate 10 songs a day. And so this is really fun. And so what I did was I went ahead and did this ahead of time. And in my library, I created a song. Where'd it go here? I created a song about Gamug and CapMac. And so I did one that was like an electronic pop, and the other one was a folk song. And I'll play one of them for you. So I don't remember which one this is, but let's do old tech. And by the way, can't say Gamug right. It says Gamug. So let's play it and you'll hear what it came. It generated this itself. You all hear that music?
Yes.
In the heart of St. Louis by the river's gentle sway, gathering of minds, Gamug came to play. Legends about the iPhone with each meat-bit share, from the first lit screen to the future in the air. Down in Austin, where the live oak trees bend, CapMac folks with guided tech tales to blend. With iPads in their hands and Macs on their lap, every new feature mapped in their tech-savvy trap. Oh, Apple hearts beating strong and true, from city to town, in red, white, and blue.
So basically, I just put in, generate a song about 2 Apple Mac user groups, Gamug in St. Louis and CapMac in Austin, and it came up with that. And by the way, it'll give you 2 versions. Let's see, I'll do this. Here's an electronic pop version of this.
Be a watch on the wrist.
Why did you not change?
I moved in St. Louis town, CapMac in Austin all around. Apple folks where tech is found, iPhones ringing all year round, iPads glowing in the night, Macs are running apps just right, Apple Watches shining bright, user groups with pure delight. Apple friends, we're techie proud, new CapMac, join the crowd, innovate and scream out loud, new ideas were never bowed. St. Louis sharing all we know, Austin techies with the flow, MacBooks Pro and fast to go, user groups put on a show, heart rate.
And so it's got lyrics, and you can tell it, oh, I like that, I don't like it. And if you don't like it, it can, regenerate for you. But that one's a lot of fun because you don't have to have any musical talent. You just input it, and it has all kinds of different styles. Like you can do, something rock, you can do something pop, or whatever. And so it's a lot of fun. My family, we have fun coming up with stuff like that. So anyway, like I said, I know I blew through some of these kind of fast here, and but these are all fun AI sites that I've been playing with in recent months, and so I think you'll find some, hopefully some of those kind of interesting to play with.
Question about the song generator.
Yeah.
If a person has a part of an idea, like if they want the lyrics to say something because they're actually creating part of it, can you give it some lyrics that it should use, and it will help you make music for some lyrics that you might have in mind?
I have not directly tried to, like, I want you to use these lyrics, but I've said, I want you to talk about this or that in the song, and it does it. So it would be an interesting concept to try. I'm sure you could say include this line, in the song, and it probably would, is my guess. Like I said, I know I went through a lot of those quickly, so I'll have a PDF for you guys, so you can, if you want to go back and look at some of these sites and play with them, you can. But some, like I said, you can kind of lose yourself down the rabbit hole with them for quite a while on some of these, and have a lot of fun. So,
Aren't you glad you're retired now, Glenn?
I got to tell you, Alan, I think I got a lot more done when I was working full time than when I'm retired. It's too easy to say, I'll do that later. I'm going to go take a nap.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, anyway, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And don't forget.